The Curse of La Llorona, or as it's called in Australia for some reason, The Curse of the Weeping Woman. I guess La Llorona is too hard for Australians to pronounce, so watch me mispronounce it this entire review. It stars Linda Cardellini, who plays a social worker investigating the disappearance of two Mexican boys. She goes to the apartment where the mother lives and discovers that the mother has locked her two kids in a room. Deeming the mother unfit to look after her children, she later discovers that the mother was doing an excellent job at looking after her kids, because there's an evil spirit trying to drown them, the Weeping Woman. Then Velma separates the kids from the mother, and La Lorne drowns them, and then marks her kids for drowning next. And then La Caramba sort of pranks her family for an hour and a half when she is sort of killed, but still has a sequel set up. Like she's dead if the movie bombs, she's alive if it's a hit. You know, the usual deal. So let's get started. Cue the jump scares. So ever since I saw the trailer for this movie, I had one thought. So the Conjuring universe now has a new template. I used to think that the only thing these movies had to offer was stretching out the overused imagery of the dumb Annabelle doll. But now, the Nun has broken the perfect new template that can be applied to anything. Darkened eyelids and glowing yellow eyes. Never again will we have to use a doll as our vessel. You can already see the beginnings of this thanks to James Wan. Bathsheba and Bill Wilkins just sort of had yellow eyes. That was about it. Now we can slap on some Kiss makeup, and we have the perfect recipe for...
Loud noises!
So La Salonia is just the nun dressed as a bride. This movie should have just been called The Bride. Oh wait, that might have been too confusing. But despite a very quick intro scene, and then a dump of exposition towards the end of the second act, what does La Lawnmower have to offer in terms of character?
Darkest chapter in the Conjuring universe.
I would not be surprised if this is what becomes of the Conjuring franchise from now on. Dark eyelids, glowing yellow eyes. Just think of the possibilities. Everyone's a demon. Seems like this Annabelle 3 will hopefully be the last of that series. Like, it's nuts. Annabelle got a completed trilogy before the actual Conjuring did. But we don't need dolls no more. We got La Llorona. And I don't even know what these demons are anymore. Like, the nun. Fine. It's a demon posing as a nun. And I guess it can do crazy visual shit. But to my knowledge, La Llorona was just a woman who drowned her kids, regretted it, and then drowned herself. But she can do the most insane shit. She can bend matter, time, space, and logic. She is a living, breathing visual effect.
A woman in a white dress.
Like, some of the scary visuals and moments in this movie are like cheaper than a video Copilot tutorial.
Here's what we're creating. And what we're going to do, and if you look here,
There is a moment early on where Velma's son sees La Bamba for the first time and jump scares at him. He runs away and gets into the car with his sister. He then looks up and she is screaming at him through the window. But then her face just cuts off. And I was like, wait, shouldn't her face fade away? Or maybe she just moves backwards into the darkness? Or the kid should look away and then look back and she's gone? Nah, just bang. Cuts off and it's just his reflection. There's a lack of rules in these movies now. Anything could just happen. Freddy Krueger in broad daylight. And she's not even a demon, but she can do as much, if not way more crazier shit than the nun. She's like the T-1000. She'd just grow metal spikes out her arms and chase the kids down the street. Like, why not? And it's a real shame, because despite all the problems I'm about to go through in this video, there were some aspects of this character that I actually liked. But it just felt like wasted opportunities. Like being based on Mexican folklore, a more solid backstory than the dumb nun. You hear her crying first, and then you see her. And there was actually some shots in this movie that actually creeped me out, until they ruined the shots with shitty, cheap visual effects. It's like that shot looked so believable, but then you just couldn't help yourself and turned it into...
Darkest chapter in the Conjuring universe.
So before this movie's released, I was so confused as to what it actually was. I was like, is James Wan just producing horror movies outside of the Conjuring universe? Now just so it isn't anchored to the Warrens and can actually make any movie they wanted? Which is what I thought for a while. Because all the posters just said, from the producers of the Conjuring universe. But then it turns out it was a part of the Conjuring universe. And I was like, how? When you look up the story of La Llorona, it's a Mexican folk tale. And if this movie hasn't got the Warrens in it to just travel to Mexico to fight the Weeping Woman, then how does it connect? Well, I don't remember a single thing from any of the Annabelle movies, especially this character, so I don't know which movie he's even from. But he's in this movie, and when Velma goes to him for demon busting advice, he's like, "Ah yes, I'm no stranger to dark forces," then cuts to a flashback of him running around with the Annabelle doll under his arm. But this doesn't even turn into a connection that matters, because he then says to her, "I can't deal with this. I need the Vatican's approval first. However, I can put you onto a shaman who can help you, because I can't help you with this. I gotta stay out of it. But here's the number of Tuco, so go ask him for help." So, this is now some classic shit right here. First of all, if he has dealt with dark forces such as the Annabelle doll in the past, a doll that's so fucking bad that it needs its own trilogy to properly show you, wouldn't he just have the Vatican on speed dial and be like, "Man, I'm just gonna trust my own priest gut. We gotta help these kids." Second of all, if the overall point of this movie was to have a Mexican evil spirit be fought by a Mexican shaman, then why didn't this movie take place in Mexico? Like, a demon's a demon. Why couldn't it just be fought by anyone religious? Which raises another point. If La Llorona is a Mexican legend, what the fuck is she doing in Los Angeles? Did she cross the Mexican ghost border? If it was mentioned in the movie that this woman and her kids were cursed by La Bamba in Mexico, and then they ran to Los Angeles to get away, but she followed them there, then it must have been mentioned so quickly or it was mumbled. Why not just set it in Mexico? This is where the laziness of adapting this legend for the film becomes apparent. While researching this film, I came across this video about a year ago of James Wan and the director announcing this movie and showing off some early footage.
And it's a story that obviously, coming from Australia, I wasn't familiar with it until I came here, from friends around me, and I was like, wow, that would make for an awesome story one day. And it's a folklore, ghost story folklore that is very much connected to that is from the Hispanic community, the Mexican community. Basically find and show the world the kind of other kind of ghost stories that are just more than the usual one that we're used to seeing.
And it's like, yeah, great. It's good to find out about things that not everyone knows about and try to share it in a very accessible format such as cinema, and being very culturally specific to Mexico, as this lady has to remind us white people.
Should we give a little bit of history to those who don't quite know what it is?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Sure.
Yes, the white people are like, yes! The white people are like, yes!
The white people are like, yes!
Why couldn't this movie just take Velma and her kids to Mexico? And that's how they get cursed. Then not only does the audience have La La Land to be scared of, they are also seeing our main characters out of their element, which puts the audience out of their element. But it gets even worse. My point before of why didn't the priest from the Annabelle movies just help them? He makes a very specific point of not being able to help Velma and her kids. So he sends her to Tuco. To which I'd be like, man, this crying bitch is fucked now.
Whoa! Damn, man, look at that, look!
But he's a shaman. So in America, this Mexican shaman can fight this Mexican ghost with Mexican magic in America. And so how is this handled? Well, he sort of becomes the Mexican Batman. Once he agrees to help them, he's going around their house blessing it with chicken eggs and stuff. And they have this moment where the kid's like, this is silly. We're using chicken eggs to fight the T-1000. Then he cracks open one of the eggs and this black shit spews out. And then the other 3 eggs start moving on their own and then they all explode and then black shit comes out of those. And just like that, they believe him and his Mexican magical ways, despite this magical bitch attacking them all movie. And just like that, we have free license to have Tuco just pull out any old bat gadget out of his bag and use it to fight Lawny Lawns, which starts to get ridiculous. Rules start getting thrown out the window. And it seems like La Caramba just keeps outsmarting his magic, but then he has some other trick to hit her back with, which develops Freddy Krueger syndrome very fast. You kill Freddy by not believing in him, he's back. You kill Freddy with holy water, he's back. You kill Freddy by making him look into a mirror, he's back. You kill Freddy with the third dimension, he's back. Now this movie, through all the wonders of CGI and not having enough plot to fill an hour and 30 minutes, takes all of the Freddy Krueger endings ever and just puts them at the end one by one. When La Llorona was alive, and drowned her real kids, there was this tree with red leaves near her. Now this tree is very important. He sprinkles the bark from this tree around all the entrances of the house, which banishes her outside. Then the dickhead daughter breaks the barrier, trying to grab her doll that fell outside. She then drags the kid to the backyard swimming pool to be drowned. And then Tuco sprinkles salt in the pool and blesses it, turning the whole pool into holy water, with La Llorona in it. Then you would think the day was won. Then they go inside, and then La Yolanda comes back. Tuco, who in a previous scene collected some of her alien goop tears and blessed it, turning into anti-venom or something, throws it in her face and she buggers off again. Then the woman whose kids died at the start rocks up with a gun to help Viva La Bam to kill her kids so she can get her own kids back. The kids then run up to the attic. She follows them up there. Now, whilst in the pool, Velma was struggling with La Llorona and grabbed her ghost necklace.
I brought something out from my tree. Where did you get that? I grabbed it off his head.
Well, one of the kids had that while they're in the attic. After La Lorne plays Tetris with all the junk in the attic, one of the kids shows her the necklace, which puts her in a spell where she looks like her original form. Then one of the kids accidentally pulls a blanket off of a big mirror and she sees her demon face, and then BAM! Back to evil. And then either Tuco or Velma or one of the kids, I can't remember who, brings up this crucifix that was made from the tree with the red leaves and stabs her with it. And then in true Nightmare on Elm Street 3 fashion, she goes all Dr. Manhattan and bursts into ghost goo dust particles. And then it's all over. And the sun is up, they are outside, and then Velma looks down and sees an alien slime puddle of her tears. Then BAM! It ends. Nightmare on Elm Street, baby. What the fuck did any of it mean? Nothing. And it's like, man, if you couldn't settle on one ending, why not go with the best ending ever? Throughout the movie, they kept making callbacks to Velma's dead husband, who was a cop. They have a scene where the son is in his office with his police hat on, pretending to shoot bad guys. During the last third of this movie, my friend turned to me and said, "Man, I hope the dad shows up as a ghost to fight her." And I was like, yes, ghost dad.
Ghost Dad.
Diane, you know, Casper's daughter.
And a secret to keep.
I know.
You don't try to threaten me!
Ghost cop dad shoots La Sonia with ghost bullets. Maybe plants some ghost contraband on her that either sends her to ghost jail or maybe deports her back to Ghostico. Who the fuck would have expected that? Ah well, let's just stick to ripping off Nightmare on Elm Street. For those who remember my jump scare rant in my Nun review, let me get serious here. This isn't me joking. This isn't me being hyperbolic. This is the truth. Every single scene in this movie is a setup for a jump scare. There are no scenes with just character development or just to take a breather and then get back to the scary stuff. This movie from start to finish is one big jump scare. These movies are now written like, no pun intended, the scary movies. It's just a jump scare every 5 minutes, like those comedy movies have to have a joke every 2 minutes. There used to be this cliche in horror movies that when the camera would frame an actor with a lot of space behind them, you knew the monster or the maniac was about to burst out and attack them. Now, the cliche is no longer a visual. The cliche is the scene itself. A character will walk into a room and the music and sounds will stop and they will be there alone. And then you know, well, the music and atmosphere sound stopped, so something's about to pop out. Or my new favorite jump scare. You actually have your creature front and center and you're looking right at them and then they just burst out from the side. This is what I'm going to coin the raptor scare.
You stare at him and he just stares right back. And that's when the attack comes, not from the front, but from the side.
Back in oldie times, the monster would have to burst out from the shadows. Now it can just come from the side of the screen, even though you are looking right at it.
Clever girl.
Actually, if Jurassic Park was a part of the Conjuring franchise, it would be more like this.
Darkest chapter in the Conjuring universe.
Like, it's just cheap now. There's no discipline in terms of how La Llorona is unique to other jump-scary demons. It does not use Mexican culture to its advantage in terms of being original. As soon as the movie starts, it's in a rush to end. The opening scene is La Llorona alive, She is in a field with her children, and then bam, it cuts to her drowning one of her kids. The other child sees this and is just like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. Then she grabs his arm and yanks him away, and then bam, cuts to the title. And you won't get any information about her until like the end of the second act, where the priest is like, so there's this legend called La Llorona. She was in Mexico, blah blah blah, and she wants your kids. So this movie may make money, it may get a sequel, but it's so disposable. And if they wanted to bring this Mexican legend to life and share it with the rest of the world, well, all it did was just make a generic product that anyone can make. And now, you can make your very own Hollywood horror movie. Watch this instructional video and find out how. CorderyFX presents How to Jump Scare, the Conjuring Universe Edition. First, get your subject to stand in the distance. And instruct them to reveal themselves slowly. Rise. Don't worry if it's too slow. You can always utilize the generic Hollywood editing technique. Cut out some frames to make your monster move like it's stop motion, or a glitchy television. Next, pan to something falling over, or maybe a reaction shot. This will make it easier to get your subject out of frame. Then pan back to reveal the empty space the monster was just in. Hold on it for a bit. The shot must drag on for some time, just so the audience feels the need to look in every single corner of the frame, hoping to see the monster still there. But the monster won't be there, for we are implementing the cheapest trick in the modern book. Haha, yes. Oh no. I was hiding the Unistream.
Oh shit.
Then get your subject to stand close to the camera. Have them slowly open their mouth in a sort of demonic or spooky way. Yeah, good. Then the next step is to rush the edit and make all this stuff pop. Digitally darken the eyelids, slap on some glowing yellow eyes. Ah, creepy. Now, when you're adding your sound effects, the rule is to never let them peak with the red on top. But whatever, we're planning on scaring stupid teenagers, so you can be a bit cheeky and let the audio levels peak. Then the next step is to add some spooky, scary music, but make sure to fade the music off before the scare. This really gives the jump scare a good wallop. Ah, and finally, color grade your shot a bit darkish, and...
The darkest chapter in the Conjuring universe.
The curse of La Llorona.
The darkest chapter in the Conjuring universe. The darkest chapter.
Congratulations, you are now ready to make your modern-day horror feature film. Report to Mr. James Wan's office and you'll be assigned a Conjuring spin-off. See how easy that was? Hey, can I make one of these Conjuring spin-offs? Hey, James, can I make one? Huh? Can I? Put me on the team, coach. I'm ready. So now for my final conclusion with this movie. I didn't hate it as much as The Nun. There were some aspects I sort of liked, but it's still junk. $3 out of $9. Everyone always flips out when I say the $6.50 rating, but that's just the cinema I always go to. However, I saw this on a public day, so be happy I wasted more money than I was planning to. Anyway, thanks for watching, y'all. This has been a CorderyFX opinion. If you liked it and want to see more, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell, support the channel, and buy a t-shirt. And have a good day, and I'll see you for Annabelle 3. Oh no! Why do they put the Warrens in it? They're the only fucking reason I'm invested in this Conjuring franchise. Fuck! Alright, go back down again. And try to keep your arms like... Do this, like put your arms down as you're coming up.
Oh, okay.
You look like the Emperor.
Do it.
Good.
Good, Anakin, good.
Right, one more where you just like... More
stiff.
Arms down. You literally look like the Emperor. And like tilt your chest out. Yeah. Like think Antichrist, not Palpatine.
Alright.
Also lower.